Have you ever felt lost in your life? Raise your hand if you've ever felt lost in your life. Lost maybe in your career, lost in your business, maybe lost in your relationships. Lost as a parent, lost as a leader, or simply as a human being. And those moments of being lost are very often the beginning of what I call transformation. Because these messy, uncomfortable, and confusing moments are very often the call of the adventure for all of us, and the moments where the real transformation begins. But it's never so easy, right? So let me take you to mine. I was 17 at that time, one of the best students in my high school, but not because of the grades only, but because of this leadership energy I could bring to the people, I could bring to the school, organizing charity concerts, talking to sponsors and organizing sponsorships, also providing some interviews and really building and exploring the students' community. And the community that was really interested in something even more than just simply a formal education. And I had this wonderful teacher, the teacher of Polish literature. And oh my gosh, she was really this rebel, the visionary, the person that decided not to touch the system. And she taught us the experience. So imagine, we didn't just read Macbeth by Shakespeare, but we filmed it, and that was in the 80s. We didn't just read Antigona by Sophocles, but we actually held a courtroom debate arguing faith and justice, just like young philosophers. And she was so rebellious that she didn't accept any simple and normal essays anymore. So she challenged us really, really strongly. Can you relate to some of those teachers that has those really strong impacts on you? Raise your hands. Yeah. Big appreciations for them, as they are really shaping us. And she shaped my style. So she believed also in me, and I created this personal style of writing those essays. I can say she really woke up this artist in me, so I started writing creatively. Imagine an essay in the form of an interview, for example, with the fairy tales heroes, in using the Polish old style, the rhyme. So I really challenged the old traditional way of writing the essays into something completely new. And I blended this traditional approach, understanding the literature with innovation, we can say. She was satisfied, I was in my flow, and you know what? 1 year before the final high school exams, she left. And I received this message from the other teachers and school authorities. Sylwia, don't use your style. Please write according to traditional structure. What do you think I did? Yeah, I used my style. Are there any rebels in the room here? Yeah, any rebels? Yeah, great not to be alone. Really, thank you so much. So important not to feel alone in those moments. So the day of the public announcements came, the moment where the whole school gathers in a hall for the final results announcements. And I hear Lewandowska failed. Silence in the room. Hundreds of eyes on me. The floor opening under my feet. And myself blushing because shame was on my cheeks. And in that moment, I had no psychological background. I had zero psychological tools. Neither I was expected this. So no preparation for holding a public shame at that time. Imagine being 17. And in that moment, the only thing I had, my best friend from high school, Marek, who took me at the river into the nature immediately after the announcement, so I could actually digest this moment before I had to share this unpredictable and not so nice news to my parents. And my parents didn't say any negative word. They were really holding this moment of transformation for me. And day by day, after that experience, I started to immerse even more and even deeper into the nature, biking, walking, running, or even dancing in the nature. And I can tell you that one moment when I was really immersing that, one moment when I really recall fantastically, was the moment when I was just really hiking in my hometown. And that was a couple of weeks already after the announcement. And I felt this unexpected feeling. I felt freedom. Because you know what? All my friends were so stressed out with this moment. You might recall it from your own history. Will they accept me at university so I can continue the education? Can you recall that? You read your list, you know, if your surname is on the list. Very stressful moments, right? And I didn't have it. I was completely free. But I was free in a completely different way, in the sense that I was somehow out of the system of traditional education, and that I realized in this moment that the system map was not my map, apparently, and that I had to probably discover that there is a different way for me, the way I really had to create myself. So I continued immersing into the nature deeply and deeply every day, and finding this beautiful, beautiful moment where you can be held by the nature, by the birds, by the elements, the wind, the earth. And that was going even deeper and deeper as my way forward, as my way out from this moment of feeling lost. And all those movement, the nature and philosophical books, they became my medicine at that time. And I really thought that maybe some of you also feel lost in your life. And I want to tell you that for me, this particular moment became my initiation. And what was interesting at that time was that in this gap year that you have, I really was immersing in the nature even more and more. And through that, I made a very courageous decision to study something that is called cross-cultural psychology. And at that time, to be very honest, I had no idea what I'm going to do when I graduate. But what I only knew was that I was really ready to shift my thinking, to go beyond the traditional way of thinking, and learn that there is more than one way of looking at the world, that there is more than one way of looking and living your life. And in that particular moment, I really realized that sometimes this is the moment when you are pushed beyond the old map, feeling lost, feeling that you don't know what is your next move. But immersing in the nature is helping you to actually discover of who you are becoming. And fast forward 2020, I was already an international business psychologist working in organizational development, leadership, and culture change. So I could understand why was I really, studying that, and why I actually had this gap year. And in 2020, this invisible force changed the whole life, right? You remember that moment. So suddenly leaders didn't know how to lead. Suddenly, parents didn't know how to hold the families, and students didn't know how to, learn and what was actually the future they were learning for. And I didn't know either. And I felt lost again, not really knowing how to run the business further if we couldn't fly into different countries. I didn't know how to hold a space for my family as home became a kindergarten at that time, your office, and so much more, right? And I didn't know also how to help my clients to hold this uncertainty with their teams. So I really felt myself being lost in and with this world that was actually changing in front of my life and in front of my eyes. And this time, very consciously, I created this ritual. So imagine waking up at 5:30 in the morning every day for 3 months. I decided to go out to the nature, to the forest, to run and walk with just one simple question. How can I help? How can I help? How can I help? And with this question, I was really moving. I was putting this question into the nature to help me really digest what it meant and what could be my contribution to this world at that time. And when I was back home, I had this huge board and I was putting ideas, reflections, thought, inspirations, everything that came to me, not because I was creating at the desk trying to solve the problem, but because I invited the nature to co-create with me. And that became somehow a solution. I started to prototype the solution that was emerging from this movement. And in that moment, as I kept running and immersing deeper and deeper into the nature, one day something hit me. I thought that if I feel lost again, maybe others feel lost too. So how about we feel lost together? So I invited 3 friends and then 12 clients and connecting on Zoom for 21 days in a row, but this time 6:30 in the morning. We were immersing in the nature every day with just really one simple leadership question at a time. And you know what? This is how Resilience 21 was born. A transformational training to lifestyle practice that is helping leaders like we all are, navigating change and uncertainty, change and challenge, change and adversity, through the nature, through the movement, and through the connection with the community. And this is what I've learned through that experience, that being lost alone is quite heavy. Would you agree with this? Right? But feeling lost together, I can tell you, it's a game changer. It's so powerful. So when life hits you, I can tell you, don't sit down with it. Really, I kindly ask you, move yourself. Be grateful you are still alive, that you have 2 feet and you can simply go out to the nature and move with this question. Dance, run, walk, whatever, but don't sit down. Just really allow that the nature, that is something more than we are as human beings, can hold you in this. Because I want to share one of the metaphors I use in my work. And this is the metaphor of boiling water as a representation of any adversity in your life. Imagine what happens when you put an egg to the boiling water. It becomes harder, right? When you put the carrot inside, it softens. But the question is, what happens to the coffee beans when you put them into the boiling water? They actually change the chemistry. They transform the water itself. So whenever life hits you, I want you to know that you have the options So ask yourself, whenever life heats up in my life, who do I become? Is it an egg, a carrot, or maybe a coffee bean? So it's actually really resilience for me. So this kind of ability to transform because of the adversity and discover yourself exactly because what you are going through. That's resilience. And this moment where you can really, really find yourself in a completely new version. And it's actually backed up by science, because Resilience Institute researchers found out that 52% of people can grow from the adversity. 52%. So ask yourself, are you in this group? And if not, would you like to be? The question is, what is the easiest way to do it? Well, as a psychologist, I can tell you that neuroscience now confirms what, by the way, indigenous communities practice for centuries, that just 20 minutes per day, really immersing into the nature, increases mental clarity, improves emotional stability, activates problem-solving pathways, and what is the most important in nowadays, reduces the stress hormones dramatically. 20 minutes per day. Do you think it's worth it for you? So I think, what is really important that I want you to know is that whenever you feel lost, whenever you have this moment, take the question into the nature, because then the movement, the nature, and the communitas can really transform. They are transformation engines. And because of that, I want to ask you, what is your boiling water now in your life? Is it your business model? Is it your next step in your career? Is it something in your relationship? Or is it maybe the climate emergency or social justice awareness? What is it? And if you have that moment, I want to tell you that being lost means that you actually stepped out of your old map and you can find this beautiful place for growing. So I want to really end up today with just one simple invitation for tomorrow. Think of one simple question for yourself and take this question for a walk. Go into the nature. Make the nature your friends, your allies. Stay open, stay into a receptive mode. Don't judge anything. Just really openness and curiosity, and see what happens. Because if you are about to hear one thing from me today, is that when you move with this question outside of the old map, the world will start whispering the answers. And what I want to leave you with is just this beautiful thought. Whenever you feel lost, I want to tell you, this is most probably the beautiful moment of you to becoming. So have fun, really have fun discovering new version of yourself.
Sylwia Lewandowska,